What's good with the YouTube? You already know Big Flocka with the convict reaction. Now, on this channel, what do? We smash, dash, and react. Please hit the like, comment, subscribe, do all things to help support this channel. Hit that bell notification for future content reactions. Anyways, how's everybody doing out there, man? So, I've been watching that interview I did on stories written by a current prisoner when I interviewed the individual Bugsy and former NF member from Watsonville. And I was going through my notes and everything, and some of the things that I was observing, man. And it kind of all goes parallel with everything that I've heard, pretty much as far as it's all about the money. The whole focus point of them recruiting a lot of individuals into the NF, less people becoming en soldados. It's all obvious what's going on, man. There's a recruiting frenzy within the NF. You know what I mean, at this time for the state, and he kind of pretty much corroborated and clarified that, man. Um, at the same time, though, there's a lot of things that he was only on a need to know basis. One thing that I questioned that about the interview was if he was a carnal, why did they send any Northerners to hit him? As we already know, only a carnal is supposed to hit another carnal, unless that carnal's already been hit. Um, and the purposes of why they hit him for freelancing and stuff like that, man. That right there in itself, man, especially if you were Cat 1, you would expect that maybe there would have been a fine um, and some other type of consequences, man. So it just doesn't. A lot of things don't add up and make sense, man. But at the same time, this is a new era, new wave of the NF that's pursuing a whole different goal, I guess, man. As far as within the state, um, but all the things that he was talking about, people getting hit over cell phones and whatnot, and that's been obviously happening over and over again. He definitely knew some of the same people that I knew, and his information was pretty accurate on a lot of things, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how it is in the system now, but you would expect every Cat 1 on the main line would probably at least have either a one or two man detail with a team on them at all times. So I was wondering what was his situation. Was he maybe on probation? Um, it seemed like they fast tracked everything regarding his status. Um, unless you're on the streets, at times they may fast track your position as far as the rank and file. But other than that, you know, um, I don't know what to make of it. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people who've commented different things in different scenarios, man. But in any event, it was a good, entertaining interview. It shed light to what was going on in these prison yards, man, and the percentages of what they expect to get kicked back and whatnot, and the different titles that they're using for the Norteños Soldados and Northerners, and how that changed as well. It kind of all meshed well together, man. And so I never really gave my view or perspective of it. I just did the interview. And what my view is of Bugsy is that there's a lot of youngsters who get recruited or pulled or raise their hand early without knowing the expectations of what they're expected, to live by. You know, um, Nowadays you got young carnals that are like real young, they're recruiting. And, before you had a lot of qualified and seasoned individuals, who knew which direction they wanted to take the mob, and they could scout certain individuals that they felt were worthy. And a lot of them were intelligent. Now it looks like they're recruiting for numbers and purposes. What I mean by that is, say someone's sent to parole and they want to have control of a set area. It seems like they're trying to recruit people in all different areas. Therefore, they have a carnal that's doing their bidding. You know, basically, it almost looks like everybody's expendable and they're on a short-term leash and they already know what's expected. You know, um, I know during this time frame there was a different change as far as within organizational policies that they went to a pay roster for all carnales. That was in 2012. Then that changed as soon as they hit the main lines. And so, because they're out there on these yards, because the communication is a lot more easy accessible, the state's been able to generate a lot of fucking money. A lot more than you would anticipate, man. And certain cities have certain yards, and everybody's getting broken off a portion of it, which is basically everything that the O's been about from the get go, or at least since '72. As Fig told me that the mob went in a different direction around that time. And that's when the creation of the mob and the O was basically, took the plight. It was no longer about the people, but about the organization, about the establishment of the mob. And they're living by everything that they said they were going to live by. And I thought there were some interesting things at Salinas Valley. They pretty much had that sewed up pretty well. I thought the situation with Danny Boy was pretty interesting. Because Danny Boy, don't forget, that's a long time fucking very well regarded, respected, um, you know, person from down that way. And I had a hard time thinking that conversation really took place, knowing Chuko. You know, Chuko is a people person, man, and he knows how to finesse the crowd. He knows how to fucking get the momentum and get people going. And that's what's always paid, you know, dividends on his career based upon the fact that he can do that. He can get people to believe in him. So, you know, everybody has a different opinion. You know, there's some people who love Chuko. There's some people who thought he was a little tyrant and taking advantage of his position. You know, what people fail to realize, one of the main ones that was a culprit in this was fucking Stork. You know what I'm saying? Stork got up there and got in people's ears, and you know he wanted to have that position because he was doing state time before he hit the feds, and he had a lot of people that backed him on it. You know. Anyways, in any event, man. Um, as far as the details of the last 7 years, there's been so much different things that have occurred, and you know whatever's going on currently. You know, I'm not going to discuss, but you know everything that you hear about, people talk about, has a lot to do with the things that have transpired, man, and the different direction in which the organization has took its people. You know, it's more about recruiting and having the backing and support of other carnales as opposed to recruiting quality individuals. And it's not always these individuals' fault. It seems like there's a lot more that are not getting the proper indoctrination, especially being on the main line. Think about it. You know what I'm saying? You would anticipate that the education levels would be a whole lot different because there's so much organizational business. Therefore, you're recruiting carnales and then you're thrusting them in positions without them having any knowledge of what they're expecting. You know, like Bugsy said, he was just given the Constitution. You know what I mean? You're going to have to break down each article and you're going to have to really fucking come to a terms of understanding that shit because there's no gray areas to these laws, man. They're black and white. Therefore, you can't just give someone something and expect them to fucking understand it. You know, like I said, man, you know, there's a couple things that I questioned, but I enjoyed the interview. I enjoyed the detail. I enjoyed the certain things that I heard, and some of it was able to be corroborated. You know, Matt was vying for the GOP position at that time. Um, you know, as well as you had Chuco and Conejo, and you had other people in DC. You know, trying to force DC out of retirement. DC wasn't going to let go. DC had been waiting for fucking years to hold that position, man. And you know, I thought that this was a fucking interesting interview. Um, I never really got a chance to react to it, and I don't know what to say because there's certain stuff that raised a little bit of concern or not concern, questions. I'll say, you know what I'm saying, but I give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and those questions were like, okay, well, is this really how they're doing things now? You know what I'm saying? The probationary period, I mean, you should already be basically starting your indoctrination a little bit and getting brass to understanding that because if you did, you know, I don't see no not giving, especially a cat one, not being given any type of due process at all. That's the thing that kind of made me fucking question some things. Now, can I say a cat one dropping off out real quick? Yes, of course, man. And you would anticipate that they would have someone go on the yard and deal with them as a carnal because there's enough dudes that are raising their hands that are willing to make that kill and that basically your blood in. You know what I'm saying? There's always someone there ready to go. Maybe that's why these dudes did the hit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But if anything, he sounded like he was a very intelligent youngster, man. And you know, like I said, there's a time period in all this that we used to be a part of, right? Whether you work right now, bro, whatever, northerner. A lot of times people get put in positions, in situations where it's not them failing, but it's the people that failed them because you have to give people proper insight, proper education, proper dogma because therefore then you can apply it. You know what I'm saying? Now a lot of people are sitting there ready to make commitments before they even know anything about this. You know, from the get-go, you should know it's corrupt. There's betrayal. There's disloyalty. It's a fucking cutthroat fucking game, man. And you have to recognize that from the get-go. But they're recruiting people, like I said, I've been hearing from people who have no knowledge or understanding of old business, and you're expecting them to be held on a higher level. It makes no sense. You would expect every seat to be on the same fucking level of awareness and discipline. But I think a lot of these issues, right, are rising from the greed and the drugs that are being fucking filtered out in these prisons and how people are using nowadays. Point blank. We know what happened up there in high desert. I think fucking the only one that was 100% clean would have been maybe Mondo. And I can't even confirm if that's true or not. But me knowing him, it possibly could be. But as soon as you get drugs involved, usage, people with different ranks and status, what I'm saying? You're going to have these type of setbacks and fallouts. It's obvious what's going on here, man. What I'm saying? In any event, this is my quick reaction, man. Hope you guys have a good one. I'm out.